Hello? Anybody hear me? Oh, perfect. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all here today to celebrate the life and memory of Dale Kovalenko. We did not realize how many people were going to show up here today. You saw the mad scramble to get everybody a seat. Anyways, my name is Edward Eggenberger. I'm married to Cheryl, who is Dale's sister. And if I could ask, anybody has phones they want to put on silent, that'd be great, just in case. And I would like to invite Dennis Zygmunt to come up. And Dennis is going to do a tribute to Dale's life. Okay, you got her. Oh, I need Let's go over on that side over there.
We'll let him get in there first.
Yeah, right over there, Dennis. Over there? Yeah. You got her?
Yeah, that's good. Then I'll bring the microphone over to it so you can just sit down here.
This is what happens when you get old. Oh, this is good. It's on?
Yeah.
Can everybody hear me okay? Good. Okay, I guess I'll start. Dale was born in Edmonton on August 28, 1956, to Joseph and Julia Kovalenko. Barry was 1 year old at the time, and Cheryl would come along 3 years later. Their family home was purchased in 1959, just down the street from this hall, in Meadowlark, a new community in the town of Jasper Place on the outskirts of Edmonton. Joseph had taken a transfer assignment as an air traffic controller to Goose Bay, Labrador in the fall of 1959 for a 5-year term. So they rented the house out and the family was off to Goose Bay. Dale was very mischievous, adventurous, and independent, which was evident from childhood. While in Goose Bay, playing outside in the summer was what all the kids did, having none of the modern electronics and only one TV channel. There were many young families that had moved there with the Department of Transport, which meant lots of friends to play with. Dale started school in Goose Bay, and one day Barry and Dale thought it would be a good idea to walk home from school, which was quite a distance. Needless to say, their mother had the neighborhood out looking for them as they were not on the bus. Barry said he's not sure whose idea it was, but knowing Dale, it was probably his. In looking through the old report cards, they found Dale's kindergarten report card from Goose Bay. Miss Day, the teacher, noted that Dale was a very good pupil. However, he talks too much. The teacher thought it was a behavioral issue, and it turns out it was an early career training. Dale simply had too much love and too many stories and too much energy to keep locked inside. In the summer of '64, Joe's employment term was up in Goose Bay, and the Kovalenkos headed back to Edmonton, where Joe had transferred to the Edmonton International Airport as a controller. They flew to Ottawa and picked up their 1964 Country Squire station wagon, wood paneling and all, and took a side trip to the Maritimes. After the vacation, the family flew to Edmonton, and the station wagon was sent by rail. They moved back into their home in Meadowlark, and Dale started grade 3 in Meadowlark School, just 1 block away from the family home. Dale's love of the outdoors started at an early age. The family would take many camping trips, which evolved throughout the years. First with a tent, the old heavy canvas type with the poles on the outside. And next came a soft top tent trailer, and finally the hardtop tent trailer. It was a smaller soft top tent trailer that the family owned or pulled behind the station wagon out to Montreal for Expo in '67. What a trip, camping across Canada, sleeping on a mattress in the back of the station wagon, while on the road. Legal in 67, and the kids had a great time, although you'd probably get arrested for it today. One day, while at Expo, the family was waiting at an elevated monorail station, which would take you from one side of the park to the other. Dale, the independent 10-year-old, had stepped out into one of the cars before the rest of the family could enter and the doors shut. The rest of the family watched in shock as Dale left in that car from the station. Joe was trying to tell them to get off at the next stop. Joe got on the next train while the rest of the family waited at the platform, worrying. Dale did understand, and Joe met him at the next station, and from there they continued back to Julia, Barry, and Cheryl. Besides family camping trips when Dale was young, there would be the visits to the aunts and uncles and cousins on the various farms they were in Thorold. And that's where Dale's parents grew up. Those farm visits were always intriguing to Dale. Being the city kid, he thought the farm chores were fun. To the cousins, they were not so much fun, but truly daily chores. There was also the road trips out to Penticton to visit Dale's uncle who owned a motel. Cubs, scouts, and swimming lessons all took place within the Meadowlark area. And as Dale grew up, upon completing grade 6 in the Meadowlark School, Dale would go out to West Lawn for grades 7 to 9. And that was at 92nd Avenue, was the boundary between junior high school and Hillcrest and West Lawn. So many of his friends went to different junior highs, but always would reunite in grade 10 at the J.P. Composite High School, again down the street. Back in the day, many a young man's first money-making venture was delivering newspapers. This was also Dale's. He was probably in grade 7 at the time, and there was a paper shack across from their house where papers would be picked up. And one Friday, Dale's family was to leave for Jasper on a ski trip. This is after he was done his paper route. On his way home, he picked up a broken bottle and threw it, but he cut his index finger, and basically sliced off the fingerprints. So they had to go to the hospital and did a skin graft from his forearm. He ended up never having a fingerprint on that finger, and he could not ski that weekend. The family left late for Jasper after he got back from the hospital. He went on to deliver flyers, but after ditching a batch in someone's garbage, he was ultimately let go. And that's something that he wanted. So while in grade 10 to 12 in Jasper Place Composite High, it was known that all his friends were back together at school. Dale joined a band made up of school friends. Magic Spruce was the band's name. He played the bass or bass. As well, he didn't have a bass guitar, so he played with regular electric guitar, but only 4 strings. He said that was Dale. He made do with what you have. Magic Spruce had a gig at Westlawn Junior High when Cheryl was in grade 7. Smoke on the Water was a hit. Cheryl and her friends thought it was so cool that her brother was in that band. His journey with music started with accordion lessons, a staple for young Ukrainian boys. The lessons were short-lived, and the accordion remained in the case in the basement of his parents' house for many years. After graduating from high school and working for a brief time, Dale moved to Calgary and went to SAIT for a couple of years. During the summers, he worked for CN Rail, repairing track, and many years later they found detonators, which were explosive devices placed on the tracks as a warning device for trains. They were found in his closet. He did not return to SAIT after his mother's passing in 78, but instead he went to work and was back hanging out with his high school friends. They camped for many May long weekends where the Red Deer River crosses the forestry truck road. They had a great time rafting in freezing cold water of the Red Deer River and camping with a good group of friends. It was here that while learning to ride Barry's dirt bike, he ran into the back of Barry's van. No real damage other than the model name on the back of the van was permanently changed. Years later, Dale ended up buying the bike from Barry and used it when fishing near Hinton. In 1983, Dale took an extended solo vacation to Europe and India. He started in England and stayed with Mark's Uncle Peter. Mark was a high school friend. We have since heard that he made such an impression that Mark's cousin, that she named their baby boy Dale when he was born in 64 or 84. Dale traveled across Europe and flew back from India. He often talked about that trip over the years. Dale worked for Betoni Boland prior to starting with Amraze Canada, formerly Lafarge, in August of 1989. He was employed for 37 years and was looking forward to his long-awaited retirement in February of this year. Besides Dale's immediate family, he also had a working family. He had developed personal friendships with fellow employees and stayed in touch with many of them after they had moved on from the company. Dale became a proud father when Julia was born in 1992. He co-parented Julia until she moved in with him full-time as a young teenager. Julia went on to graduate from JP High School and out to the workforce. Dale bought his house 16 years ago, which is next door to the house they grew up in. Dale's father passed away in 2003 prior to him purchasing the house, so they did not get to see, or did not get to be neighbors, and now Julia will go on to be the homeowner in Meadowlark. Over the years, there were many family trips. Dale, Barry, Cheryl, and their families to Hawaii, Disneyland, when the kids were young, and Dale took Julia to Toronto to visit Barry and Lee, and Mark. And then in 2019, Cheryl convinced Dale to join her family on a trip to Hawaii. It was a hard sell, but he finally agreed to join him, and he had so much fun from the helicopter ride with CJ and Lauren to snorkeling. He had a great vacation. They loved having him with them. Independent, Dale one evening a few years ago, he was not feeling well, and he thought he should drive himself to the Misericordia Hospital. Well, on 163rd Street, about halfway there, he ended up on a curb, and the light pole he hit was on the ground, and he did end up getting an ambulance for a ride for a couple of blocks to the hospital, where a stern talking from the police and EMTs cured him of driving himself to the hospital after that. Besides family trips, Dale would make the annual trip to Yellowknife for a visit for fishing. We all know it was all really for fishing. We are sure that everyone there heard at least one, if not more, fishing stories, and he really wasn't exaggerating. Some of the fish he caught were good. We think Dale's happy place was on the water fishing, and those fishing stories would be cherished and told by those who loved them. Barry, Cheryl, and their families surprised Dale for his 65th birthday. They had to make it a surprise because if they told him they were going to do one, he would say, "Don't bother," and don't bother, and don't make a big deal out of it. That was Dale. He had a great dinner, and we know that he did appreciate the surprise after all. Over the years, Dale had a bit of a green thumb. The tulips, tiger lilies, and peony bush would all come up on their own. The tomatoes, peppers, and he planted to peppers that he had to plant. The catnip was also there plentiful and attracted a lot of cats in the neighborhood. Cats would stop by for a visit, which he enjoyed very much. He would dry the catnip in the fall and send some back to Cheryl to make up for the cat toys. Dale was a beloved father, son, brother-in-law, uncle, and friend. His kind spirit, quick wit, and signature sense of humor touched all those who had a privilege to know him. We can only hope that he has been reunited with his relatives and friends who have passed before him, and he is fishing with his buddies, where the fish are plenty.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, just reel it over there. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. At this time, I'd like to invite Julia Kovalenko, Dale's daughter, to come up and say a few words.
Just go a little higher.
We are all here today to celebrate my dad, Dale. I know that he is looking down and happy that everybody was able to gather today. My dad was a man of many words, and some of you that knew him well knew one of his most favorite four-letter words to say on a daily basis. Every single day, he was his most authentic self. He didn't hold anything back and loved to joke around, especially teasing me. He had a sense of adventure. He loved fishing and the outdoors, and his sense of adventure ultimately led to him being banned from chainsaws and going on the roof without supervision. That being said, he probably should have been banned from axes too. We went on a camping trip in Hinton when I was between 9 and 11, and he almost took his thumb off with a hatchet. My entire life, my dad was a single dad. I was the most important thing in his life, and I had no idea how much he talked about me until after he passed. My dad was the biggest supporter of me DJing and performing. He came to my first show at the Pint on White in 2021 for Sunday school, which was a drum and bass event. He always tuned in when I was doing my own thing on my Twitch channel, listened to my radio show for True North Radio and the UK station Megahertz Radio. Whenever I would get anxiety before a show or want to back out, he would encourage me to play it and say, "Break a leg, babe." We shared a lot of things in common, such as fishing, animals, cops, the First 48, and Trailer Park Boys. He put up with all of mine and CJ's antics, even after we got him really good one year on April Fools regarding something being shipped via Buffalo Air. He took me to Disneyland, Universal, Knott's Berry's Farm, Legoland, and other things quite a few times. And at Disney, when I was really little, so he could get me on more rides, he stuffed napkins into my shoes, just to make me a little bit taller. We ended up going on Indiana Jones, and I guess I didn't enjoy it, because when my dad would retell this story, he laughed and said, "Yeah, that was a mistake." My dad taught me how to fish, how to ride a bike, and how to drive twice. Once when I was little, and we would go to the parking lot that was across from Fort Edmonton Park that had the staircase. I would sit on his lap and steered while his feet were on the pedals, and a second time for real when I got my license. It really is true that when we grow up, our parents end up rubbing off on us. And as much as I hate to admit it, my dad was right about most things. And if he's listening, he would probably get a kick out of me saying that. He really loved animals, and after Skippy crossed the Rainbow Bridge, he didn't want any more cats. I, however, had other plans, and when my dad was at work, a friend dropped off this tiny 1-year-old cat named Nala. It wasn't in a good environment, and he needed a home for it. So I tried hiding Nala the best I could in my bedroom, and because I thought my plan was flawless, shortly after I decided to step out for coffee. It was then 45 minutes later I got a text from my dad saying, "We need to talk." When I got home, my dad said, "So your bedroom was meowing?" And long story short, I was busted. But he fell in love with Nala pretty quickly. He also loved my cat Henry very much, who he gave the funniest haircut to, making his face look like a perfect circle, and my cat Opie, who he liked to call Mr. Big Head. When we moved into the house a few years later, this little black cat started coming around and he was a stray. My dad pretty much took care of it in the garage, and for the last 2 years, he would wait at the door for my dad and also wait for him to get home from work. He called him Little Black. I named him Seagull because he loved people food. After my dad passed, I kept Seagull, and thanks to the help from Edmonton Cold Weather Animal Rescue, I was able to get the veterinary care for my dad, for my cat. I know my dad would be surprised he's not feral anymore, and also happy he's taken care of and off the streets. My dad was genuinely a good man, and a huge part of me still feels empty, and not having him here for holidays is always going to be hard. I wish he was here to see all the things I've done, like start my own business as a lash technician, and all of the future things I will do. I just want to continue to make him proud. This grief has made me feel like the whole world is ending and nothing is happening all at once. I'm truly grateful for all the support from my friends and family. Before I end things, I wanted to share one last story and a quote from my dad. In October, I had just changed jobs and was dealing with a few challenging things in my life. When things started to improve, I said to my dad, "Finally, light at the end of the tunnel." To which he replied, "No tunnel, only light." I loved him very dearly and will continue to miss him every single day. I hope he found one hell of a fishing spot in the sky.
Thank you, Julia. Lauren Egenberger, can you come up this time to say a few words on behalf of our mother?
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren. I'm Cheryl's daughter, and she asked me to read this on her behalf because she didn't think she'd be able to get through it, but I appear not to be able to do that either, so I apologize in advance. So from Cheryl. Dale was a great brother. I may not have always felt that way when we were young, like when my chatty Kathy doll was forever silenced after he pulled the string right out of her. Years later, being the younger sister was lots of fun. There was always something going on with him and his friends. The odd house party when our parents were out of town, going to Edmonton Eskimos football games, seeing Iggy Pop at the U of A in the early 80s, the Clash at the Kinsman Fieldhouse in 1982. I do remember going to that concert, although his running joke to my family was that I was holding up the wall and that I did not remember actually being there. Since I was the younger one, I still blame him for that lack of memory. Over the years, when a Clash song would come on the radio, I would text him a picture of the screen. He would reply, "LOL, you don't remember that concert." I moved to Yellowknife on Dale's birthday in 1983, and he started to come to Yellowknife probably in the mid-90s. For the past 16 years, since Dale bought his house, we stayed with him when we visited Edmonton, and CJ stayed with him during his second year of university. Dale ensured that I always had a couple of things packed on the boat for fishing trips, after bite and instant coffee, which were not too unusual. And then in 2023, he added another item, which was steri strips, little pieces of tape that you use to hold skin together after it's been cut. When we were evacuated from Yellowknife due to the forest fires in August 2023, we stayed at Dale's house for 3 weeks. He was trimming the hedges in the backyard and tapped the electric chainsaw on the chain link fence. It jumped back and caught him in the upper arm. I drove him to the Misericordia this time, but if we had not been there, I'm sure he would have driven himself. A short wait in the ER, lots of talking, and a number of stitches later, we were back at his place. Just another day for Dale. He was actually quite proud of those scars and enjoyed the reaction when he showed them off. Dale was always genuinely interested in where CJ was at in his film career, and as of November 2025, he was excited that CJ and Becca were moving back to Yellowknife to take on the business as their own. Lauren had stayed with Dale for 2 weeks in 2023 during her 3rd year of medical school as she was doing a clerkship rotation at the Royal Alex Hospital. He would ask where she was working as he knew she would be done her residency at the end of June. Dale took on the role of Ed's expediter years ago, and I'm sure he knew all the gals at Buffalo Air Express in Edmonton by name. Dale liked reading, the Oilers, and Coronation Street. He would tell me not to jinx it if I texted him during the game when the Oilers were ahead. And if I called him during Coronation Street, he wouldn't answer but would call me back later. Dale's last trip to Yellowknife was for CJ and Becca's wedding in July of 2024, and fishing that same August. Dale did not come to Yellowknife in the summer of 2025, but said, "I'll have lots of time once I retire." Our family sure misses Dale, his laughter, his text messages, and his company. The boys' fishing trips will be a lot quieter, and our trips to Edmonton will not be the same without him.
Thank you, Lauren. At this time, I'd like to invite Morris Chirka up to say a few words.
Here's a speech written in the words of Dale. Sorry, too many F-bombs. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today as we celebrate the life of Dale Kovalenko. To most of us, he was simply known as Kovy. Kovy joined the Forge in 1889. He's been around that long, right? Yeah, 1989. And he spent his next 37 years becoming one of the most respected and recognizable people in Alberta's concrete industry. During that time, he left a lasting impression on everyone fortunate enough to know him. Throughout his career in quality insurance, Kovy wore many hats. He was a problem solver, a mentor, a teacher, in many ways, a walking encyclopedia of concrete. If there was a question about concrete, chances are Kovy knew the answer or knew exactly where to find it. Over the decades, he touched countless projects across the Edmonton area and beyond. From bridge decks and airport hangars to ice rings, warehouse floors, road construction projects, and even small weekend pours. Kovy was there. Whether the job was worth millions of dollars or was a simple driveway, he approached it with the same commitment, pride, and attention to detail. One project that stands out was the white concrete at St. Joseph Seminary. But the truth is that Kovy's legacy can be found throughout our communities. His work helped shape the roads we drive on, the buildings we work in, and the infrastructure we often take for granted. But what made Covey special wasn't just his knowledge. It was how freely he shared it. He believed in helping others succeed. He took the time to teach, explain, coach, and encourage. Many people in this industry are better at what they do today because Covey took a few extra minutes to share what he knew. His experience was extensive, but his willingness to help others learn was even greater. Covey was also a vibrant presence. You always knew when he's in the room. He had a great sense of humor, a quick wit, an infectious laugh. He can make a tough day better with a joke, a story, or simply by being himself with his crazy hair and his fun vocabulary. He built friendships everywhere he went. Customers respected him. Colleagues trusted him. New employees learned from him. Competitors knew him. And those relationships were every bit as important to him as the work itself. There are many people who work in the concrete industry. There are very few people who became synonymous with it. To many of us, Covey was concrete. His passion, his expertise, dedication helped establish our community as a leader in the industry. More importantly, he helped build a culture of pride, quality, and teamwork that will continue long after today. At 69 years old, Covey was taken from us far too soon. While we mourn his passing, we are grateful for the time we had with him, the lessons he taught us, the laughter he shared, and the example he set. On behalf of Lafarge and the Amrise family, we extend our deepest condolences to his daughter, to his sister Julie, his brother Barry, and sister Cheryl, and all of his family and loved ones. Covey, thank you for your friendship, your guidance, your humor, and your unwavering commitment of excellence. The structures you helped build will stand for years to come, but your greatest legacy will always be with the people whose lives you touched. You will be deeply missed, fondly remembered, and never forgotten. Oh, fuck, Covey. We're gonna miss you, old friend.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to, we're going to have open mic. If anybody wants to come up and say a few words or has a story they want to share. I see you're all rushing to get up here. Okay, my son Christian has prepared a video of some of Dale's greatest hits. You might want to get out your Kleenexes if you...
After Dale passed, my father asked me if I would create a video compilation to present today. I gladly accepted and immediately got to work. Going through years of raw footage brought back some truly incredible memories. And receiving photos from his friends and family, images that I had never seen before, was a gift. It showed me an entirely different, beautiful side of his life that I'm so grateful to have seen and learn about. But I'll be honest with you, once I actually sat down to put this together, a real sense of worry set in. I became really anxious that I couldn't possibly do justice to his life And it felt unfair to even try to boil down someone's life, especially someone like Dale, into a short video. So I walked away and I left it for a little while and told myself that I'd come back to it. As today's date approached, I went to pick up the projector from one of my early filmmaker mentors, and he's actually someone whose opinion I've always really valued. He would be the first person that I would send our yearly fishing video to get his feedback and, you know, the first opinion. Because of that, he had already seen many moments of Dale and the adventures that we had shared over the years. I confided in him how much I was struggling to finish this project and how hard it was to accept that a video could only capture so much relative to the entirety of someone's life. Anyways, he kind of looked at me and he shared a story. He said he had recently attended a funeral where the departed's best friend of 40 years was given only 5 minutes to summarize their entire relationship. And he told me, you need to accept that it's heartbreaking and that you may never be happy with it, but all you can do is do your best. And that stuck with me, and I realized that while I only had the pleasure of knowing Dale for 32 years, I had the immense privilege of crashing at his house more times than I can count, fishing with him nearly every single summer growing up, and even living under his roof for a year. And along the way, there were plenty of life lessons learned. Those thoughts gave me the reassurance that I needed. I got back to work on the project with newfound motivation, and I decided to simply take a step back and try my best to let the moments speak for themselves. After hearing what everybody else had to say, it kind of gave me even more confidence, because I think it's going to touch on a bit of everything that everyone each touched on. So I'm going to miss my uncle very dearly, and this video is my way of saying thank you to him, and to remember that I'll see him again. It's broken into 3 parts, so after the first part ends, just give it a couple seconds. The next song will begin. Yeah, there's 3 parts to it, and I hope you all enjoy it as much as I enjoyed putting it together.
Look at the stars, look how they shine for you, and everything you do. Yeah, they were all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you, and all the things you do. It was called Yellow. So then I took my turn. Oh, what a thing to have done. And it was all yellow. Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turn into something beautiful. And you know I love you so. You know I love you so. I swam across, I jumped across for you. I bleed myself dry. It's true. Look how they shine for you. 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 Look how they shine. Look at the stars. Look how they shine for you. And all the things that you do.
Oh, fuck! Coming in hot.
Something filled up my heart with nothing. Someone told me not to cry. Now that I'm older, my heart's colder, and I can't see that it's a
Fuck you. That's okay. You took your, wow, see you had him the wrong way.
children.
That's okay. Next time.
Hold your mistake up before they turn the summer into dust. If the children don't grow up, our bodies get bigger, but our hearts get torn up. We're just a million little guys counting rains down, turning everything to rust. I guess we'll just have to adjust.
You said what? I said 14 and then I said 12. 14 fucking 14 ounces. So 15 pounds. Go back. You don't want.
and Julia, you wanna?
I just wanted to say thank you to every single one of you for being here today. I know it means a lot to me and my family. My dad would be really happy seeing that. Everybody loved him so dearly. My dad did love animals, and I know I touched base on Edmonton Cold Weather Animal Rescue when I first started talking. Over on the table there is a little card about Edmonton Cold Weather Animal Rescue, and it's 100% not necessary, but if you would like to leave a donation in memory of my dad, you can find all of the information over there. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barry. I was Dale's brother. I'm not going to tell stories about Dale. There's enough that have been said. All I can say is that Dale was my brother. He was loved as my brother, and he will be missed. I would like to thank a few people. I'd like to thank Matt for doing the live stream. I would like to thank Morris for his kind words. I would like to thank Amriz for the food that they had provided, which will be coming out shortly after this. And I don't know if there's anybody else that I'm missing, but I'd like to thank Cheryl and Ed for doing the MC work. I'd like to thank Cheryl for organizing a lot of this event and coordinating it. Lauren, CJ, my wife Lee, Julia for helping set up this morning. And most of all, I'd like to thank everybody here for coming out. It's really appreciated, and Dale would have appreciated it as well. Thank you.
So that brings us to the end of this, but we're going to be doing some light refreshments after this, so please stay and socialize. I'm sure it's not every occasion, it's a sad occasion, but it's not every day we get to come and meet people that we work with and we haven't seen for a long time. So please stay. We'll have sandwiches and other stuff put out. We'll have to do a little bit of rearranging for the tables and stuff like that, and thanks very much for coming.